Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Fancy TechCast. I'm your host, Damian Bowman. I feel like it's been decades since I've seen my good friend here, Mr. Dan Zaleski, in this format, if you will. How are you, Daniel?
Hey, I'm doing great. Maybe not decades, but it's been decades in tech anyway.
Yeah, really. I think everything's flipped over its head since you couldn't pronounce Lenovo last time.
I don't even
Uh,
know what that word means anymore.
yeah, I know. I know. It's okay. They're only the largest computer manufacturer in the world, but it's another conversation, I guess.
Of crappy computers.
Stop it. My ThinkPad is a tank, man. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, no, ThinkPads are good computers. I
Let me
can't.
tell you
I can't.
something. I was at Lucas Oil Field on Saturday for Notre Dame and Purdue, and in the press box, I don't know, there were probably 100 people, 150 people there for that game, press
Yeah.
members or whatever, and 95% of them were on PCs, which is not what I'm going for here, because we already know the market share of computers versus Macintosh
Right.
or PCs versus
Right.
Macs, whatever. But of those, whatever percentage I just told you, half
Mhm.
half of them were using ThinkPads. Not just Lenovo's crap consumer stuff, but
Right.
their good business stuff. I was actually surprised because
That is
those are
surprising.
expensive. Yeah, and I didn't think that a lot of the media organizations would put that out for for their traveling media members. But I guess it makes sense.
Well, at least if they're forced into that world, they're not forced to a plastic Toshiba satellite
Yeah, I didn't.
15-inch $200 Best Buy special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I didn't see any of that kind of garbage. It was all business stuff. But like I said, I was just surprised it was a lot of the ThinkPad and HP Elite Book. I think that's their
So what,
flagship
10%
stuff.
MacBook Airs then?
Actually, no, they were all were they Mac? I didn't. I'm trying to think what I saw. ThinkPads, iPads,
Okay.
um, and I want to say MacBook Pros, maybe one or two MacBook Airs, but a lot of
You
it
know,
was MacBook Pros because I think a lot of guys were doing audio stuff and they were producing it on their own. They probably wanted all
oh,
the controls.
yeah, gotcha. That makes
So,
sense.
yeah, not that the iPads can't do it, but obviously, if you're traveling, it's a lot easier to do it on a MacBook
Right.
Pro. So,
So little trip to Indiana. How was that, man?
long. Let me tell you something. I woke up at I think I left. I was at the Speedway at 4:30 in the morning,
Phew.
and I got to Indianapolis probably about I don't know 9:30 or something. And I thought I would be able to get in, and of course the media window didn't open till 2 o'clock, so I had like 3 hours to kill. And the worst part of it was is that I left my wallet at the gas station in Ohio.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so that was fun. I had a
Wow.
couple friends take care of me, so obviously I got there and I got back, but it was a challenging day to say the least. But if you've never been to Lucas Oil Stadium or Field or whatever they call it, that place is a palace. I mean,
I've
an
heard. I've heard
absolute
it's really nice.
yeah. I mean,
I've
I didn't
heard
get the
they've got like retail shopping in the terrace. Like you can
yeah.
like an H Greg and all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, I didn't get the grand tour. I mean, I kind of got to go down on the bowels of the stadium or whatever. I didn't get to go in the locker rooms because obviously the teams were using the locker rooms. Notre Dame was in the Colts locker room and Purdue was in the visiting locker room. So I didn't get to go in
Right.
there, but I got to go into the officials locker room because I knew one of the referees on the game and down in the kitchen and a couple other places. The place is immaculate. I mean,
Yeah.
if I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And I know this isn't a Brown show, but I always rail against Cleveland Brown Stadium about how bad it is, and then if you go to this stadium, Dan, and then you go
He's
back downtown, you'll never want to
got
go
better.
downtown again. I mean, that's
No,
how.
no, you're right. Cleveland Browns Stadium. There's high school stadiums around here that are better than that. So
Right, right. I mean,
I
they
don't
can put
care
up all
about
the
it.
fancy scoreboards they want. It's not going to mean anything. It's
Although
not
they are pretty fancy,
shaped like
shaped like the
Tennessee.
state of Tennessee.
Right. Rocky Top. There's our reference for the day. All
Yeah.
right. On to the show, right? Enough of the kibitzing. Lots of things have changed. But most importantly, last week Apple had their I don't want to say their big fall event because they'll probably have another event next month
Well, but
for
this
either
is this
MacBooks
is the big one
or
though. I mean, this is the popular one. This is the iPhone event, which is their biggest event of the year. So yeah, this is really the big event. There's one coming up in the fall, like you said, for iPads and maybe some Macs, maybe a Retina iMac, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, this was the big event. This was the iPhone 6, which we all expected. Obviously, we'll get our thoughts on that here in just a second. There was the Apple Pay, which is a new form of payment that Apple's hoping that they can leverage their user base of some couple 100 million users to get that off the ground. And then there was the iWatch, which, well, I guess Apple Watch. I gotta stop calling it the iWatch. Every blogger in the world's been calling it the iWatch for the last 3 days. So the Apple Watch, which is Apple's take on a wearable. Um, and yeah, so I guess we'll just start with the iPhone 6 since that's kind of the big news every year. Bigger phones, I'm not so sure, Damien, but I hear you're a decent fan of the iPhone 6. What were your first impressions when you saw it?
I will be buying the 6 Plus the day that I can get my hands on it. That's
That's
how.
that's a pretty big fan.
That's a. I mean, I don't know if that's a ringing endorsement, but I'm impressed. I'm interested. So
Yeah.
I know you're probably going to get the smaller one, the 6.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean I've grabbed my iPhone every year. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do. And but here's the thing. I'm one of the few people out there that like the 4-inch form factor. I like the fact it fits in my pocket, it fits in one hand.
I don't
I
think you're
have a
one of the few people. I think
Well,
I
yeah,
think
maybe
there's
there's a lot of us out there.
yeah, there's a
Uh,
significant portion of you that like that
yeah,
like
because
that
I mean, I
size.
have I have an iPad if I want something bigger. I have, when I don't want something bigger, I have a 4-inch phone, and yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I wish there was a brand new iPhone 6 4-inch. I'd be a lot happier. Having said that, I'm definitely won't be at the 5.5. I mean, there's just no chance that's going to happen. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get the 4.7 here. I mean, or pre-orders are already starting to line up, so it's probably going to end up being November before I get my hands on a gold 128er.
Yeah, I
Um,
just I know while we were doing the pre-show, while we were trying to get our mics and everything over, I checked for me, right? Because I'm selfish.
right.
6 Plus at 128 in black or space gray or whatever they call it.
hmm
November 4th, and it was October 28th, Thursday or Friday when I checked in. Now it's November 4th, so it's getting.
November 4th is a pretty impressive backup. That's longer than usual.
I don't think it'll be that long. I think you'll probably be able to get it. I mean, if I pre-order now and I say November, it says November 4th. I think I'll probably have it by the 15th of October. I think that they're probably just putting it out there that way, and then I think
Yeah.
the color, they'll shift the builds around based on what colors are more popular and things like that.
Right. Like
I
last year, you couldn't get a gold one until December.
right. Yeah, I think that they'll probably pump out, a couple 100 million black ones, and then they'll kind of
Yeah.
fill in the other colors. I just think that everybody kind of fell in love with the black one. Obviously, I don't know the numbers from last year, but I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think black was the most popular one of the 5Cs that came, or not the 5C, the 5S that came out
Yeah,
last year.
black
So
was always the most popular, but they were taken aback by the number of gold that people actually wanted. So there was no gold to be found anywhere, so they had to manufacture a bunch of gold ones. Which I'm sure the case this year. There's one color I'm sure that's higher than the others. I think the black looks pretty good this year. It really is year to year. Last year the gold was actually the best looking one.
do you think
This
do
year
you think the gold was so popular last year because it was the first year of it?
oh sure, probably it was different. I mean I got it. That's what I got it. 64 gigabyte gold. I mean just because it
Right.
was a gold iPhone.
Right, and,
you
and
know?
and you and I had this conversation. We obviously we talk a lot about this stuff offline, but
hmm
um, my whole thing is, and obviously you don't do this, but there's a lot of people who go get the gold phone and then they put a cover on it. And I would say, well, why do you
Yeah.
waste all this time waiting for a gold phone if you're just going to put a cover on it? Like I don't,
Right.
I'm with you. Like I go raw too. I mean, it is what it is.
hmm
That's why you get insurance. I'm
Yeah.
not
I
going to
mean it's a
spend all that
phone.
money on the phone and then cover it up. Like I,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't cover my computer. I don't. I have a
right,
cover on my iPad only because it's actually more useful that way when I'm out. But I take it out of the cover when I'm home. I just don't like. I mean, they spend all these millions of dollars in R&D getting these things thin and light, and I just don't like to ruin it by throwing on an otter box that would make it 5 times bigger.
right. I mean, something like when I was out of town this weekend, or like if I go like to a race or something, and I know I'm going to be in a crowd with people who are walking around or they're
hmm
drunk and they could bump into me, I'll put
Yeah.
like a thin OtterBox case on it, like a really,
Right.
the condom as I call it,
Sure.
um, just in case. But if
Yeah.
I'm out even at a bar, or if I'm around the house, or if I'm out whatever, it's not leaving my pocket usually,
Right.
and or it's sitting right in front of me.
It's
But
funny. You're identical to me. I own a case. I just never use it.
right,
For just like you said, if you feel like you're going to need one for an event, if I'm going to a ball game or something, maybe. But
right.
um, So, all right, so 5.5 inch and a 4.7 inch. You know, these are pretty big phones now. I mean, now you're in with a 5.5 inch iPhone. You're into the realm of Samsung Galaxy Note territory. So you've pretty much got the super high end big phone phablet space, and then the 4.7. What is a Galaxy 5? I mean,
I think
what's
it's
the I don't even,
five. The Note or the
no the Galaxy
oh the
phone, the
S4, you mean?
S5 is the one that's
Or
current, I believe.
is it? I thought it was the S4. Okay. Um, what size is it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. How big is the S5? Let me tell. I'll take a look here.
You would think we would know
It's,
this. You're right. It is the
yeah,
S5.
it's one of those things you hear, but you just don't.
5.1.
Is it a five? Okay, so a 4.7, a 5.1. It's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Um, so now you got an iPhone to challenge the Galaxy. Not that Apple needs to challenge anybody, but you've got a phone the same class as the Galaxy S. You've got a phone the same class now as the Galaxy Note. You've got two different size tablets. It's funny if you line up the Apple lineup from smallest to biggest. You go from a 4 inch. Actually, technically, you still go from a 3.5 inch iPhone 5 at 4S to a 5, which is 4 inches, to a 4.7 to a 5.5 to a 7.9 to a 9.7. I mean, it actually flows pretty well. You've got a screen size at every kind of stop along the road. And what they're doing interesting with that 5.5, Damien, that I think is kind of cool is they're kind of like giving it half of the iPad features. So like when you rotate the 5.5 in the landscape, you're going to get like iPad looking email and iPad looking messages, which is actually a pretty neat way to use some of the extra screen size. I don't know if you
Dan.
noticed that or if you had a thought
Dan.
about it. Yeah.
Do you do you use your phone in landscape?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Sure.
Really?
To type a lot. If I'm gonna type something long, yeah, I'll do this. Sure,
No,
absolutely.
see, I'm always rotation locked. That's why I stopped using
Are you?
Windows Phone because it didn't have a rotation lock. I hate that my phone just changes direction whenever it wants to.
So you have no interest in like the iPad features they baked in,
No, that means
because
nothing to
that's
me.
where you're gonna get them is if you
Yeah.
rotate them in a landscape.
Nah, I'm out. Not interested.
So you don't think so it's like to me, if I'm gonna type something long, now for a text message I won't bother to change it. But if I'm gonna type something long, I'll do this so I can get both thumbs working. You don't ever do that.
No, no, my
Wow.
rotation is locked
Okay.
24 hours a day. In
No, no,
fact,
that's okay.
if I don't want to say I don't know how to unlock it, right? Because obviously it's on that thing that slides up. What's that thing called?
Right.
What's that?
The control center.
Yeah, control. See, I don't even know what this stuff is called. But if I had to find out where, if I had to describe, let me tell you something. I don't know if you saw this. This is way off topic, but whatever. Josh was tweeting about the U2 thing, which we'll probably
Hmm.
talk about at some point
Okay.
today. Actually, we can talk about it now.
Sure.
They put this album on everybody's phone or whatever,
Hmm.
but they didn't, right? Because
You still had to download it. It was
right,
just there.
right.
Right.
And Josh was going back and forth with somebody about this thing about U2 or whatever, and it took. You know how long it took me to get into iTunes on my phone?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, 20 minutes. One, I had to find it, right? And then I remembered I had that thing where I could swipe down and search. What's that called?
Yeah. Spotlight.
Yeah, Spotlight. I'm a great user, obviously. Um, and then I had to go in, and then it took me 20 minutes to figure out where to go to download the stuff. And then I'm like, it's not even downloaded. Like, what's all the uproar about? Like, I don't understand what the uproar is about.
All they did was add the item to your purchased albums. Is all they did. You still had to download it. It's not like they
Right,
put the files on your thing. They just gave you the option to download it or
right,
not.
right.
Yeah.
So what's the uproar about?
The uproar is because it showed up in people's purchased library, which first I guess I don't care if Apple wants to give me free albums and give me free albums. I mean,
But
I
I
just
mean, how else are they supposed to give you something?
well, I think people were hoping for some kind of like a credit or like
No, no, no,
just
no.
making
That's
making it free in iTunes maybe.
well, it is free in iTunes.
Well, but not that something you have to search out as free. Like Angry Birds is free, but Angry Birds doesn't just appear on your phone.
Well, yeah, but Apple didn't give Angry Birds people $50 million for the
Oh
exclusive
no,
rights to
no,
their
I
stuff
mean,
for a
believe
month
me,
and a half.
I'm on your side on this one. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I look,
but
I could see if they had actually downloaded it to my phone, right?
but see, people don't realize it's not downloaded. I think that's the thing. People see it in their album collection, and they're like, "Oh, Apple put something on my phone." Oh no, well they didn't. All they did was add it to everybody's purchased iTunes library. So yeah, I mean, if they had put the actual files on your phone, then yeah, maybe I could see some of the uproar. But I don't think people know that. They just see it and assume. it's there. Well, and part of that's because people have iTunes in the cloud and they do all this other stuff, and it's always kind of seamless. So
Right.
now
I'm
I'm
trying to just share the here's what it looks like if you're watching. If you have iTunes, these icons on the right here with the cloud with the
Mhm.
down arrow indicates that
Right.
you need to download the item for it to actually. Um, is this
Yep.
showing
It's
on?
just
Can you see that? You can
yeah,
see
yeah.
that,
I can
right?
see it.
Okay.
Yep. It's
All right.
just
Because it's
there.
it's just there. It's not even downloaded. Just like my tweet to Josh says, like album isn't even on the phones unless you download it. Excellent grammar, by the way. My teachers would be proud of me. Um, yeah, so I don't understand what the what all the uproar was about with the album.
and
I mean,
and it was free. I mean, who cares? Apple can give me a free album every week. I'll either download it
right,
or I won't.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
people
I say.
people are all because of the picture leak and the people are just all.
So, do you think that I mean, this kind of changes everybody's perception of Apple, or a little bit modifies their perception? Like, before Apple would never kind of do like the Google thing where they would just kind of do stuff. Google would just kind of, or
Well,
like Facebook would kind of just do stuff.
I don't know. I mean, in hindsight, given public perception, maybe it wasn't a smart move. Um,
But how
but
are you supposed to give away an album?
yeah, I don't, and again, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just public reaction has been weirdly negative to this. So in hindsight, maybe it wasn't a great idea, but every company does stupid things. I
You know,
mean, they'll
you
be
know what
fine.
the issue is? You know what my issue is about this? And I just found this out based on the conversation that Josh was having with whoever that
Yeah.
was, is that to take it off, you have to go to your computer.
Well, is that still the case? Because I know today
Yeah.
they just released the
The
tool.
the tool, but I thought you had to. Doesn't the tool require a computer?
I have no idea. I
I
haven't
believe the
bothered.
tool requires a computer. Yeah, the tool requires a computer. So I think
Okay.
that like that's an issue, right? Because I don't even have iTunes installed on my machine. Um, and I think that's an issue for people. I mean, there's people who don't have computers.
But is it a big deal if there's a U2 album in your purchased albums? I mean, are we such completionists and perfectionists now that we can't have a rogue album sitting there? I got Justin Timberlake free iTunes music in my library. I
There's
mean,
certain things you don't
it
need to
just
brag
it's
about, Dan.
well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not proud of it, but it's there. Who cares? I either if I download it or I don't.
Right.
It's people. I think sometimes people just need something to complain about,
Complain
and
about.
they're already pissed at Apple because they already think it's Apple's fault that all the nude celebrity pictures got out, which it wasn't. And so there's just another thing. Oh, Apple's invading our privacy now. And whatever. People are just gonna bitch to bitch. You know people that just bitch to bitch to bitch, and so do I. And those are those people that are pissed off about their iTunes album.
All right, so you're getting
So when I
iPhone
get one,
regular,
I'm gonna
right?
get a 4.7. When I get one.
4.6. Gold or black or silver or
Oh,
what?
gold. I'm all gold from now on. All
Okay.
gold.
So you're gold from now. What size?
4.7,
I
128
mean
gig.
storage. Yeah, storage.
128 gig.
All right,
I mean, I
128.
have a 64 now that I don't fill, but I could. So,
What do you
uh,
fill yours with? What's on there?
well, let's
Or even if you
see.
don't?
I like to keep all of. See, my phone is like what I use the most, right? I mean, I think everybody's that way. This is the device I use every minute of every day. So this is where I want to keep everything, all my pictures, all my music, all my games. This is where they should be because this is where I'm going to use them a lot. So
Do you keep your pictures all in iTunes or iCloud or whatever?
I do.
Or okay.
Yeah, sure. I have all my pictures are in iPhoto. I have 32 gigs of pictures in iPhoto. So I keep all my pictures on my iPhone and all my music on my iPhone.
And that's
And just
iTunes?
for right, and that's all iTunes. And
Okay.
it's all actually iTunes in the cloud even. So then I keep then on my iPad all of my games because I don't have enough space on here. But see, once I get the 128, now I'll be able to keep basically everything I've ever purchased in iTunes um, on there. So and I just think the phone is such a personal device, and I think you should have your pictures, your music, all the stuff you're going to use all the time should be on the phone, and then the iPad's for the fun stuff,
So why are they still making a 16 gig? Why don't they just go 32, 64, 128 and be done with it?
Because if they started you at 32, you wouldn't pay the extra $100 to go to 64.
I disagree.
Well, but a lot of people wouldn't. I mean, that's if they start you at 16 and they say for $100 more you can go to 64, which is a big difference. It's a huge difference. a lot more people now are going to make the $100 jump than the 100 to 32.
Yeah, but isn't I
So
mean, here's my issue. 16 is disrespectful. Here's why. If you're new to Apple, iPhone,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you put all your pictures and all your music on your phone, and you
hmm
got 15 gig, and all you have is pictures and music, and you want to download some fancy game. I don't know anything about games. And then you're out of space. You can't just go and stick in a SIM card.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you're stuck for 2 years with 16 gigabytes of storage.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? So
Although iOS 8 is going to rectify a little bit of that because iOS 8 is going to bring all of your pictures in the cloud off the device. Um, there's already iTunes in the cloud, so your music doesn't have to be on your device.
right, but what if you? But here's the thing: your music does have to be on the device because everybody has limited data now,
Well,
bandwidth caps.
yeah, you're right
So
about that.
that's what I mean. Like that. This is what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I understand. Like, I mean, I understand what you're saying about 32 to 64 and $100 and $100 is $100, right, for me and you. But I'm
Right.
saying like just make 32 and be done with it because I mean, look, either give me 32 or give me a slot to put another external storage in, which
Well, I
which
think
we
what's
know
been
isn't
made
going to.
obvious is Apple's not going to make a 32. I mean, they're not going to start ever going to start at 32 because they just got rid of it. So they're going to be 16 until they start you at 64 is what's going to end up happening. So I do like the way it's set up better than I liked. I mean, obviously, for $100 now you're at 64 rather than $200. So I mean that's better. I agree with you about 16 being a bad place to start. But I don't think Apple's taking into account the limited data. I mean, they're looking at it as all your pictures are going to be in the cloud, all your music's in the cloud. The only thing on your device are going to be local apps. Really, but really, Apple doesn't even want you to buy the 16 gig. They want you to buy the 64 gig.
Then don't sell it to me. You know where you can keep your 16 gig on the 5C and the 5S, and from here on out, make it 32, 64, 128, and then in 10 years come out with 256 and take $1,000 from me and be done with it. Seriously,
Yeah,
stop
no,
selling 16 gigabytes.
well,
If you're going for the top tier, right? Isn't that what they're doing?
right,
Then
they
take my
are.
money. Then take my money. Then act like you're top tier.
So just out of curiosity, is 16 where everybody else is starting too? Is that why they're starting there?
No,
Like if I go buy a Windows phone tomorrow,
32.
Nokia starts at 32.
I'm almost positive they're
What
most
about the
the
Galaxy S?
I'm
Yeah,
32. Yeah.
is it?
32 it's either 16 with a SIM card or 32 in a SIM
Well,
card.
and there's a difference there. That's absolutely a difference. Is there's a SIM card
Well, that's
in
what I said, but I said that before. I said, look, if you're going to build 16s and give me a SIM card, right? Which we know Apple's never going to do, right? You're never
no.
going to get a SIM card. Then just give me 32, right? Just give me 32 and
Right.
charge me $50 for it.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna buy a Galaxy 5S. My Mac's gonna get mad at me, but
Why don't you just go to the Wikipedia page?
yep, 16. They start at 16 gig.
Right, but you get a SIM card. You can put a
It's,
SIM card in it
you mean a memory card?
or whatever they call them.
Yeah, an SD card. Yeah.
SD. I'm sorry. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. SD card. Yeah, right? So if
I
you're not going to
think.
give me an SD card,
I
then
mean,
give
I'm
me
looking.
a
I'm
gig.
looking on the specs. Let's just make sure. Just before we assume that, let's just make sure. You're probably right, but memory expansion supported. Okay, so yeah, there you go.
Right. I mean, I just don't. I get it, right? If my daughter that I don't have, thank God for America, um, and I decide that she wants an iPhone and I buy her one,
hmm
I'm going to give her the 16 gigabyte, right?
Usually, right.
Because it's cheaper, right? I'm going to get the 5C. It's cheaper. I'm going to give her 16 gigabytes. There's no way she's going to go through that. I'll
Right.
manage it.
That's what we got my son. He has a 16 gigabyte 5C.
Right, exactly. So he doesn't need 32 gigabytes. And then 2 years from now, you're still going to be selling 5Cs, right? 16 gigabytes, 32, whatever, right? But
Right.
I want 32 or 64. I mean, it doesn't matter for you or I because we're getting 128 gigabytes, so it doesn't matter. But for the people who are just coming in and say, yeah, just give me a new iPhone. Give me the 6 Plus. I don't care what it is. Whatever that you got that's cheapest.
Right.
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 And then they go import all their pictures and all their music and all this other stuff, and then next thing you know, they got 50 gigabytes free for the next year, right? If they're on Verizon Next or Edge or whatever it's called. You know what I mean?
No, I can't. I can't argue with you. I think it's kind of ticky tack too. I mean,
Disrespectful.
I thought for sure they'd start with 32 this year. That's what I thought. and I thought it was a good year to do it. And it's not like this stuff's expensive anymore. Flash memory for a phone ain't nothing, especially in the volume that Apple buys it in. So
And then
but
and then we're still at a gigabyte of RAM, right?
we're still at a gigabyte of RAM allegedly. We don't know for sure yet, but we won't know until iFixit gets a hold of one in a couple of days. But
Brutal. All right.
that's
So do you need an iPad anymore?
boy, I tell you what, if 5.5, I don't know. I mean, I
What
do because I don't
what
want a big
size is
phone.
what size is the iPad? Mini.
9 point. Well, the mini is about 7.9, 7.8.
Okay.
Not much difference. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you need the iPad mini anymore. I mean, I think the big iPad still has its place,
The
but
Air, is that what they call it? It's still
yeah, the iPad Air. I think
okay.
I think that still has a place. It's 9.7, but yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if the iPad mini. I mean, we'll see what happens to sales of the mini, but
I think it does. I think it's got a place because I think there's a lot of people who are going to get the 4.7.
it has a place. I don't know that it has a place as a premium tier thing anymore. I think it has a place as like the new iPod Touch of the world is what
All
I
right. So
think it
here
kind of has a place as.
let's do the math. How much is the
Okay.
iPad?
Well, which one? Because it
The least
depends.
expensive iPad Mini.
The least well, but hold on. There's a cheaper iPad than even the iPad Mini. The
No.
iPad 4 is $299. Okay, the
Okay.
iPad Mini
Right. That's what I'm talking about. The Mini.
with
How much?
Retina display is $399.
Okay. And how much is the 4.7?
The 4.7 is $199 for a 16 gig. For a
No, no, no,
real
no, no.
one at 64 gig, it's $299.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the real price, not the contract price.
Oh,
I don't.
649 to start. 649 starts.
Okay. Then I
So it'd
think
be. Go ahead.
so. There's plenty of room for an iPad Mini, is what I'm saying.
I guess. I mean, we're gonna see. But who pays? You say real price. Nobody pays real price.
But you do pay the real price.
But nobody pays it up front. So nobody looks at it like that iPhone is $649. Well, I mean, some people do, but most people say, "Oh, that iPhone is $299. That
Well,
iPhone is $199."
well, they're idiots. They're not paying 199 for it.
But
They're
that's
paying
but that's the
699 for it.
I or more.
Well,
But
right.
that's not how people look at it. So
What do
they're
they
gonna
think
say,
happens with that other $300? They think that Apple just kind of like forgives it, like it's a debt forgiven by the Queen.
I don't know what they think. I think they just think iPhones are 199 and 299, and they have to go away and buy one every 2 years. Get some kind of ration system. Like, okay, this
Jesus
phone's
Christ.
this phone's 299. You can only buy one every 2 years.
So
Okay,
these
well,
people really think that Apple produces this $1,000 phone and just knocks off $500 for shits and giggles?
Damien, I
People
bet
really think
you
that?
70% of people that buy phones have no idea that an iPhone starts at $650. I would almost guarantee it.
What do they think it starts at?
They think it starts at 199.
All right, this is a totally different. All right, so do you need an iPad?
I bet
I'm
I
not even having
bet
this
I bet
conversation
seventy
with you.
percent of people. I bet 70% of the people think that. I'm not even exaggerating. Take a Twitter poll.
I don't have time. I don't even want to get on. No, because no one talks to me on Twitter, so I don't even want to get on there.
Anyway.
That's amazing that people don't know this.
Oh, I know a lot of people that don't know it, and they'll say like, "Oh, I broke my phone. It was gonna be like $200 to fix it." Like, no, it's gonna be like $650 to buy a new phone. I mean, Apple will usually fix it cheaper than that for you, but yeah, I mean, if you break your Samsung or your Windows phone, it's gonna be $650 to get a new one.
All right, let's talk Apple Pay here.
Let's talk Apple Pay.
Are you excited for this?
I actually am. Because I'm big like use all the cards on my phone guy. I'm actually one of the few people in the world that use Passbook.
I do too when I
Um,
go to Starbucks.
yeah, well, I mean it has its uses. I use my Speedway card. Is in there.
Wait, is Speedway on
Yeah,
what
Speedway's on
Passbook? Is
Passbook.
it
Yeah.
wait? Is it the Speedway credit card or like the Speedway like 3 cents off your gas Speedway?
No, it's the rewards card.
Is on
Which
Passbook?
yeah, which is one of the few good rewards cards. Yeah.
Shut the front door.
Yeah. Do you have the Speedway app?
No.
Well, see, there's your problem. You don't have the
There's
Speedway
my
app.
first problem. Yeah. Okay.
If you have the Speedway app, it says add to Passbook.
Really? Well, that's another reason to go to Speedway right there. I went there
See?
4 times this weekend.
I know I go there all the time, and their rewards cards are one of the few good ones. So
No, 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 no. Wait, hang on. Have you been to Sheets?
I don't have enough sheets around me to commit to sheets.
Oh man. You're
There's not
missing out,
enough of them
brother.
around me. Oh
Sheets
no,
and
I Sheets is good. Sheets is
Sheets and
good.
Sonic, man. It's the best thing going in Northeast Ohio right now.
Hey, you
Sheets
know
and
what, dude?
Sonic.
Sonic. You know what? Like I
Don't
was
you
all
dare. Don't you
bro.
dare.
First off, I live literally like a mile away from Sonic, so I know my Sonics. All right. So before Sonic was here, I was like, yo, that's like I can't wait for Sonic to get here. And they got here, and I ate Sonic like every day. All right, for a while.
All right, supersize me.
But here's the thing: like the tater tots, pretty good. Shakes good. Got some good stuff. Their
Happy
burgers.
hour at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's all great. Burgers are horrible. Burgers are horrible at Sonic. They are. Burgers, they all taste like they've been rubbed in onions for an hour. They're
Sugar and
horrible.
everything.
Tater tots are great. Shakes are great. Drinks are great. They got a lot of good stuff going on there. The breakfast burritos for 99 cents, man, they're killer. That's all great stuff. They were better when they were Frito burritos, but
Do you think Sonic will support Apple Pay?
yeah, I think they probably will. I think almost all national chains are going to here,
Except Walmart and Best Buy.
except well, they will at some point soon.
Why do you
You
think
know,
they're against it?
I think they're with a competitor. Last I heard, they're in bed with a competitor to Apple Pay, or the people that are supporting Apple Pay, or some stupid reason. But just wait until 100 million people are using it. They'll be more than willing to take it.
So, all right, walk me through this. I go to
So if you have your
Radio
iPhone
Shack.
6,
Hang on, hang on,
yeah,
hang on.
all right.
You walk me through this. All right, we're going to Radio Shack. Are they still open, or are they filed for bankruptcy yet?
They probably won't be open by the time you get your phone,
All
but
right, so we're gonna pretend we're going there then, because they need all
all
the
right,
sales they can get.
right.
So we're gonna go to Radio Shack and buy whatever people buy at Radio Shack, and
$70 HDMI cables.
$70 HDMI cables it is. All right, so I'm up there and and I got my iPhone 6
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Right.
and it's hooked up to my Chuck Schwab
Yep.
debit card or whatever,
All
and
signed up. Yep.
and so what do I do?
You just literally hold the phone to the scanner, and that's it. You're
Do I have
done.
to? So wait, Touch ID?
Well, yeah, okay, see, I'll be specific. You'll hold the phone up to the scanner. It'll say validate this purchase. You'll touch your Touch ID sensor, and you're done.
Okay, so this is like PayPass. It's just on my phone.
Yeah, but here's the nice thing about it is just like with Touch ID, how the thumbprints never ever ever hit the cloud. Your credit card information is never going to hit the cloud. So it's completely secure in the same secure enclave as Touch ID. They're actually generating unique IDs for your card numbers. So, like whatever your card number is irrelevant. Apple Pay is going to have a unique ID it built for in place of your card number. It's going to use and communicate with servers. So, yeah, I mean, it's literally you're just going to hold your phone up, hit your little Touch ID thing, and you're done, and you
Okay,
paid.
so how many devices can I do this on?
Uh, the full functionality, only the two iPhone 6s. iPhone 5S will have limited functionality, which means it won't have NFC. So whatever you can do with Apple Pay without the NFC, you'll be able to do. But
Okay, I should have been clear. My question is
mhm,
if I'm like you,
mhm,
you have a work phone and you have a personal phone and you have an
right,
iPad or two, right? Let's assume you have two
ish,
iPads, just
right.
for giggles here. If you have four devices, my question is if I have four devices,
Mhm.
can I set this up on four devices, or am I limited to just one or two?
I would imagine you can set it up on any phone or tablet that has your Apple ID.
Okay.
So it'll be.
So, and then here's another question.
Now hold on. Now, if it's tied to Touch ID, it'll be phone specific, but I'm sure your records will. I mean, it's actually, if it's in the secure enclave, then it'll have to be each individual device, because then it won't be able to share card numbers.
So okay, so that's my point. Is like
Yeah.
if I have a work phone and I have a personal phone, or if I have two personal phones or if I have three personal phones, I literally have to
Mhm.
go through and take pictures of each of my cards 3 or 4 times.
If that's what you require, I don't think I have to take pictures. I just think you have to
Or
enter the
I'm
card
saying
numbers.
enroll my credit cards. I'm saying
You
that's my
may,
point.
having not used the system, but just knowing how it works, yeah, that's probably what'll have to happen. Yes.
Okay. So common sense here says pick one device and use that, and and then you don't have
Right.
to worry about this across multiple places.
Which is what I'm going to do. Exactly. I mean, you're going to pick one device that's your pay device, and that's going to be it. Now, the iWatch, the Apple Watch, adds a new wrinkle to this because the Apple Watch can kind of serve as the payment processor for the system. So instead of your phone, you'll actually be paying with your watch. So that way you could bring whatever phone you wanted and not worry about it because your payment information will be on the watch, which secures not through Touch ID but through the skin contact it makes. You
Right.
put a pin in when it makes skin contact, and it keeps that pin active while contact is still, and then as soon as you take it off, you have to reset the pin. So, which is a pretty good system. So, I think there's going to be some bugs. There's going to be some quirks. There's going to be some things we're not thinking of. They're going to be a problem. But I think overall, if any company has the clout to do this, and quite honestly, can build the trust because Apple doesn't need your information. I mean, really, they don't need to sell it to people. They're not looking to harvest data on you like Google is. They got plenty of money selling hardware. So
You mean selling all those $199 phones?
yeah, exactly. So I think if any company can do this, it's probably Apple. Honestly, PayPal's already sniping at them, which is funny because king of the I'm going to keep your money for 6 months just because you screwed up on a policy. No, they're all going to have a competitor, and I think it's good. No matter what, customers are going to win here. You're
You know
either
what?
going to get. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
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 I
go
was going to
ahead.
say Apple Pay is either going to be better or their competitors will get better.
Do
Either
you know what
way,
saved my weekend?
what?
Do you know what saved my weekend? Google Wallet.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. I have my Google Wallet card and my card outside of my, I have credit cards with a
Mhm.
rubber band. I'm weird like that. I don't have a
Mhm.
real wallet, but I had my other wallet, my auxiliary wallet, as I call it, which has my, cards and other stuff in it.
Yeah.
Um, and I had someone send me, some cash on Google Wallet through Google.
Well, that works. And you also, when you left your phone at the gas station, you probably still had your iPhone. So if you were in Apple Pay, you still could have paid places with Apple Pay too. So it kind of works both ways. But
But if the place takes Apple, like, do I know if gas stations are going to take Apple Pay? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean the big ones probably will. But no, I hear it. That's valid. That's
You know
valid.
what
At
I
least
mean?
with your Google Wallet, you could get money that you could actually spend. So
Right. I mean, I could have somebody send me the money, and the Google Wallet has the app on the phone, and then it's an NFC, and then you can get the physical card for it. So I mean, you have a bunch of options with it.
yeah.
Um, I
All good
always go
systems.
ahead.
All good systems. All good systems. And like I said, I think customers are going to win. If Apple makes it strong and forces everybody else to get better, then we all win.
You
So,
know what I would like? I would really like for this to help with the manifestation of NFC. And I know this is NFC. I
well, it
mean,
will. I mean,
but I'm saying for not just Apple devices. I'm saying for Android and for Windows Phone or Windows on your phone or whatever they're calling it this week. Um, they're actually changing the name of that,
that's
believe it or
funny.
not. Um,
No, yeah, they're dropping the phone or
right,
Windows. One of the two. I
they're
forget which one
dropping the
it was.
phone, lowercase p from now on.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I hope that it for people who aren't in the Apple system, so that they have a chance to use NFC, because I really like NFC. I mean, that's the best thing about when I was at KeyBank. I mean, that was the best thing is all their cards are PayPass cards.
Mhm.
You go
Right.
to McDonald's or you go to Starbucks or whoever takes PayPass, Mastercard, I think is PayPass. Just tap your card and go, and you're done. And if this kind of moves that along for everybody else, for everybody,
Well, I
I
think
mean,
it's going
that's
to raise
better.
awareness to the technology, if nothing else. People are going to get used to paying with NFC. Right now, it's still kind of a scary buzzword that a lot of people don't know about. So, anytime you put something on an iPhone, Damien, it goes mainstream, and that's just kind of what you know.
Except for
So,
Passbook.
well, I mean, I use it. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it's all
you and
right.
me and three other people. I mean, it hasn't really
Well,
gone
the
anywhere.
problem with Passbook has been the developers just haven't done much with it. I mean, the ones that have done something with it, I have my Passbook right now. What do I have? Hold on. I've got my Speedway card. We talked about that. I
Starbucks,
have. I don't
United.
have. I don't go to store. I have my Fandango information in there.
Who is
That collects
Fandango?
movie tickets.
People
So
still
I
go to
got.
movies?
Yeah, I got my Transformers ticket here. I got my when I went to see Lincoln. I got that in here. I got a ticket to a political event that I won't tell about because we're not trying to slide in, not trying to sell people one way or the other here. Um,
You can tell what it is. It's okay.
just a political event.
I'm just surprised it's
Um,
on Fandango.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got all kinds of stuff in here. You know, no, that was Eventbrite. That wasn't Fandango. That was Eventbrite. I'm saying in my passbook. I got different things in my passbook.
Oh.
So, I mean, there's four things just right there. And I don't go to Starbucks, or if I did, that would be in here too. So, I
You
mean,
don't
I
go to
use it.
Starbucks? What are you, a Dunkin'
Uh,
Donuts guy?
I'm not a coffee guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
just
just not
don't
a
do it.
coffee guy. I'm a diet pop guy if I'm gonna get something to drink. So,
Get the black guy, man, if you go to Starbucks.
yeah. I mean, I do go there occasionally and get the apple chicken drink cider
Stop
thing.
it. You get the
Oh,
apple drink, Daniel.
what is it called? The hot apple cider?
Oh
Yeah,
my.
I
All
don't
right,
mind it.
stop it. All right, iOS 8. Let's go.
What's wrong with the hot apple cider?
iOS 8, Daniel. September 17th. That's 2 days from the date of this recording.
Yes,
That's
it's
actually a day
Wednesday.
from now. Actually, that's. Oh yeah, 2 days. Yeah, because it's the 15th.
Wednesday. So if you're on a 4S, a 5, a 5C, or a 5S, you're in luck. If you're on a 4, better luck next time. And honestly, you don't want to run iOS 8 on a 4. You can barely run iOS 7. And I'm a little worried about the 4S users. I think,
That's me. I'll let you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a little worried about you, but the 4S is a lot more powerful than the
I'll
4.
format and reinstall, man. That's what we do in Windows World. Format and reinstall. What's the
You'll be
differences?
okay.
Talk to me about extensions.
Uh, Yeah, well, here's the thing. Not a lot of cosmetic differences. The biggest difference is internal with extensions. So now what developers can do is they can talk to other apps on your iPhone, which everybody else has been doing for a long time, and you've never been able to do on iOS. So now you can have third-party keyboards. You can have browser extensions now. You can have apps they'll send to other apps, or other apps will come up in other apps, and you can just now you can have a thriving ecosystem of developers helping developers. I think it's going to be the biggest change,
Developers, developers, developers.
just like Bomber, just
Love
like
that guy.
Bomb Dog. So, but it's going to be the biggest change in how to use an iPhone probably since the App Store started, because now you're going to have all that flexibility. I mean, that was the one thing you could always say hold against an iPhone is it's a walled garden. There's no, there's nobody. I can't do anything. I can do much cooler things on an Android phone. I can't use a swipe keyboard. I can't do. Well, now you can do all this stuff. So, extensions are going to be huge. The health book, I think there's a lot that yet to be written about that. That's more going to kind of come into play, I think, when the Apple Watch hits. But so you've got the health book. You've got obviously we talked about the extensions, the features that'll work with Yosemite. So the what do they call that? The SMS sharing, the phone sharing. You can make calls from your Mac now. Send text messages from your Mac. You've always been able to send iMessages. Now you're going to be able to send text messages. You can start a project on your iPhone, and then you can finish it on your iPad, and then you can send it off to your computer and send it back to your phone. And just a lot of I forget the word that they used for it now. I've been thinking about it for months, and now I've just forgotten it. But just a lot of like things communicating, I guess, is the best way to talk about iOS 8. Things are going to start talking to each other. Apps on your phone are going to talk to each other. Devices are going to start talking to each other.
Devices
Um,
and services. That's
device,
Microsoft.
yeah, so they're going to start talking to each other.
So
So
Microsoft. So Apple is the new Microsoft.
not yet, not until you can get OS 10 on something that doesn't have a little fruity logo on it. But they're not Microsoft yet, but they're
They're getting there.
they're
They're
starting
trying.
to see the benefit in letting developers have a little bit of elbow room.
So this
And I
is more
think
than just URL schemes and everything.
this is more than URL schemes. This is actual communication in app to other apps, but done in the way that Apple still feels that it can maintain security. Because in the end, that's what's important is the security. So it's done in a way that they can still maintain their walled garden, but apps can talk to each other. Like I say, if you want to use a swipe keyboard, now you can use a swipe keyboard. You never been able to do that before. So iOS 8 is going to be much bigger than people think it is, just because it's going to fundamentally change how you use an iPhone. Right now, if I'm in, let's say, an app where I'm writing something, let's say I'm in Pentiment or something, and I want to open my document in Microsoft Word,
If you're
I
in
can't
what?
do that. Well, just a writing app. Let's say I'm in something like Pentultimate, okay? Just a random
What
writing
is
app.
it called?
Man, there's a million of them. I just picked one out of a hat. Anyway, so I'm in I'm in the WordPress app. How's that?
I usually just
And
go to Word.
and I want to open up Microsoft Word. I want to export what I'm writing to Word. I had never had a way to do that before on a phone. Well, now I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to be able to open up Word documents. I'm going to be able to open up Excel documents in other apps. Open up, save to other formats in apps. So if I'm in Pages and I want to save to Word, I can do that, and just things like that. It's just going to open up a lot of things that you couldn't do before, and like I said, I think it's going to change how we use iPhones. I really do. So I'm excited. It's not much cosmetically. It looks just like iOS 7, except then the little text message voice things you can do. I don't know if you saw that, where now you just hit like a button when you're text messaging, you can send a little like 5-second voice clip over, stuff like that. So
Yeah, I'll never use that in my life. I don't even.
yeah, we'll see.
I don't even know how to use emoticons on my phone.
Actually, that's tricky. It's actually tricky
Somebody
to get those.
somebody sent me a text message with those things in them, the
Yeah,
emoticons or whatever, which
the
actually I just found out
emojis.
how to
Yeah,
say the other day. I've been pronouncing
yeah,
them wrong for decades. Um,
emojis.
right. Is that what they are, or are they emoticons?
No, well, there's you can say the thing, but they're technically they're emojis
Are they technically emojis in Apple's world or everybody else's world?
in everybody else's world.
Okay.
Emoticons is a weird name for them. It exists, but everybody knows them as emojis.
All right. So I'm still in 1995, is what you're telling
Yeah,
me.
exactly. You're like 10 years behind.
Yeah,
So
whatever. So anyway, I just found out how to. I just found out what these emojis are, or whatever. And the person who sent me this message, I said, "What does that face mean?" Right? Because I have no idea what these faces means. And
hmm
the person said it's a angry face or something. I don't know. And I said, "How did you get that?" So this person tries to walk me through how to put these
yeah,
emojis on the
it's
text, and I
difficult.
still, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. People like put this stuff, like I go through Twitter and they're all in my
Yeah,
timeline. See, I know what that
right.
word is. Um, but I have no idea how to get them there. I'm like, oh, you
I
got to
was
use an iPhone.
shocked. I was shocked how hard it was to access your emojis. Now, once you figure out the shortcut, then it's easy. You just have to add the emoji keyboard to your world keyboard. That's
Oh
all.
no, yeah, I'm
So now
not.
you just hit the little planet icon, and then your emojis come up. But
Wait, planet
it
icon.
yeah,
What the?
like on your keyboard. Well, here, I don't know how
Hang
to
on.
show you, but
Yeah, I don't.
so let me see.
How
Let me
can
find a
I?
save.
All right, so if I hit
So
search
here's my
here.
son. Here's a little conversation I had with my son. All right.
Yeah, I
So
don't. Wait, I was gonna say I don't look at my phone. Can you see my phone here?
right, see what you have to do. See, I have this button right here. Can you see that?
No, you have to hold it up to the camera, man.
Oh, here, let me actually see. I have my notes blocking.
Yeah.
Hold on. All right. So let's look at the
Uh,
phone. See my little world icon right there
oh
next to
yeah, I
the
don't even
mic?
have that.
Yeah, because you have to add it. You have to add a keyboard to your default. That little right there is
Oh,
that's how you add your little emojis. See that? You have
okay,
to add the emoji keyboard.
okay, all right.
So you
Wow,
just
that's
go to keyboards, add keyboard, and then add the emoji keyboard, and then that little world icon will pop up. And then you just hit that little world icon, and then you can
so.
access.
Those are the only two keyboards you get, are U.S. English and
No, you get a
emoticons.
bunch, but you just make sure you just add the emoji one and not like Japanese.
We're not turning
you can add
Japanese here.
you can add different languages to the keyboards. Like if I wanted to, here, I can tell you exactly how to do it. You go into settings.
It's okay. Go ahead though.
Well, other people might be curious.
Okay.
You go into, I have to remember this.
This is what we
Settings.
call crackerjack technical support here. Hold on, folks, while
No,
I
it's
try.
easy. Settings, keyboard. Okay, so settings, general, keyboard, and then you go to keyboards, and
Plural.
then it says English, it says add new keyboard, and then it says emoji, and then you click emoji, and then you have a listing of two keyboards now. I have English and emoji, see? And so then when I go into an app that uses text, I now have my little world keyboard that I can hit and get all my little emoji people.
Hey, I noticed that you have all your animations and stuff turned on. How about the animation thing that Twitter does when you open that app now?
And what does it do?
Close the app and then reopen it. Close the
Uh,
app. Force close it or whatever you people call it.
got it. All right, it's force closed. All right, let's see what does it do.
Whoop.
Oh, I don't know. I like that little stuff. So
No, I'm saying it's cool. It's the only app that does that.
yeah, that is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's nice. All
I'll
right, so what are
definitely.
you more excited about? iOS 8 or Yosemite? I almost called it
Yosemite.
Minesweeper.
Yosemite's badass. I've been using Yosemite for about 2 months now. I freaking love it. But and here's the thing though about me. I've always been Mac guy. I'm not. I'm more attached to my Mac than I am my iPhone.
So
So
what's new in Yosemite?
everything.
All right, give me the top three things.
Okay, well, it's completely overhauled visually. So it no longer looks like it has for the last 14 years since OS 10 debut. It's completely redone from the ground up visually. The fonts are different. The look is different. It's taken the iOS 7-ish look, the flat look, brought it to the desktop. So biggest overhaul right now is the look and feel, which is a big one. Um, Outside of that, there's you got night mode where you can darken your toolbar, right? But functionality wise, there's not really a whole lot. I mean, Mavericks was pretty good, and so if you can just keep what Mavericks had, and by the way, this isn't counting all the stuff that works with iOS 8. So the handoff, the continuity, all that's going to work with Yosemite, but you have to have an iOS device take advantage of that.
And
Um,
that's the ability to have your text messages show up on your phone
Yeah,
in
like if I
your
have my iPhone, okay, I sit it right next to my computer. If I want to, it'll just forward all my calls and texts right to my computer. So I don't have to even worry about my phone. My phone can be in my bag, and I can work through my computer all day, basically. I get text messages I can answer on here. If I get a phone call, I can answer on here. I don't have to get my phone out.
so it's basically Google Voice.
If that's what Google Voice is, then yes.
Okay. I mean that's essentially. I mean Google Voice you can use it on multiple devices and it send text
Yeah,
messages and get
I would
phone.
imagine it's going to work a little smoother just because it's Apple software. I'm just imagine it's going to work a little smoother. But yeah, so if Google Voice allows you all your text messages that come in to go right to your computer, then yes, that's what it's going to do. I mean, you've always been able to do that with iMessages, but now you're going to be able to do it with everything. So that's nice. Notification Center is a lot better now on a Mac. It actually has a little calculator built in.
Oh,
Weather.
wait a second. How did you forget that on iOS?
Well, there's not much difference on
No, 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 no,
iOS.
no, no, no. No, 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 no. You get a text message and can't you swipe down and reply without having to open up the messages app
Oh
now?
yeah, I didn't forget about that. Yeah,
That's the
actionable
best thing in iOS 8.
Yeah, actionable notifications. I forgot about that. Good
That's the
call.
best thing in iOS 8. I just thought about that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Good call. Actionable notifications. I did forget about that. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but
You'll use it.
probably.
I don't
This is
use
the
iMessage and you'll use this. Trust me, you'll
this
use it.
is this is the first year I'm not running the Gold Master. So just because there's issues, but
All
I'll be
right,
there I'll be there
let's uh
Wednesday. Believe me.
let's talk
You know how
Apple
many
Watch.
devices I have to upgrade on Wednesday? Do you have any idea what I'm going to be doing Wednesday evening?
You know what would be really nice is if you could download the ISO and then you wouldn't have to hit the Apple servers for it all day.
Yeah, but the problem is they're all different devices, so I literally have to download like
Uh,
5 ISOs, so it doesn't really
uh,
matter.
yeah, okay.
Um, I have, let's see, I have 5 devices I'm going to be upgrading that
And
day.
they're all
And if,
different.
and if, and if, yeah, and if an Apple TV update comes out at the same time, sometimes it does, it'll be 6. So that's a lot. I'm going to be busy.
Okay.
Because iOS updates are no joke, man. Those aren't like something you can just do in 2 seconds. They sometimes take a little bit of
Do
time.
I need iTunes for this or can I do it over the air?
No, you can do it over there.
Thank God. Because I do not want to install iTunes. I'm not putting that monstrosity on my computer.
You
Um,
can't blame you.
we have a lot of other stuff we need to talk about. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
give
let's
you,
blow through it quick.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to convince me that I need an Apple Watch because I'm not excited for it at all.
I don't know that you do. I don't know. So here's the Apple Watch. I'm sure you've heard about it, but it is Apple's take on the wearable. They're not. What's kind of unique about it is they're not just going to shrink a smartphone, put it on your watch. They're going to come up with an entirely new UI, so that it's a little bit more intuitive than using just a shrunken down smartphone on a wrist. Obviously, health sensors coming out the wazoo. It'll work with the Apple Pay. It'll work with continuity. You can send little emojis back and forth. Full Siri integration. Maps.
Something
Here's
else I
the
don't use.
See, I use Siri all the time. I actually very rarely use my keyboard anymore. I use Siri constantly.
Can Siri do emoticons? or emojis?
No, if you're gonna do, well, I mean, I've never actually tried. Maybe she can, but I doubt it.
Hmm.
You know, but that's the only time I do use the keyboard. I actually voice dictate almost everything I do on a phone now. I've got Siri trained to my voice pretty well, so she listens now. But anyway, so the watch has full Siri integration, take phone calls. You know, but here's the thing. I don't know unless you're going to use it as a health device. I don't know that you need it. And to be honest with you, until developers start showing us what they can do with it, I don't think you can. I don't think I can make a case for it. You know. Now it may very well happen to where it comes out and developers have made some amazing apps for it, and oh my God, I've got to get this thing. But I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a platform, and I think it's a platform that 3 years from now may be something we all want to have. You know, but I don't necessarily think getting in at G1 is necessarily important. It's going to be around for a while, so. I think in 3 years, you know, when it gets maybe 2 or 3 days of battery life, it's thinner, has more memory, has more storage, you know, maybe then it'll be a better product, you know. And I don't think it's bad. It's just I'm not all that excited for it either. So, but it's cool, and it's the start of a new platform, and I'm more excited to see what developers do with it than anything else. So. I mean, there's some interesting takes on it there. The crown is actually the navigation. That's kind of new. From all accounts, it's got an amazing screen on it. You know, but it is what it is. It's a small screen that just saves you from having to take out your phone out of your pocket. If you just bought a 5.5-inch iPhone, I would think you'd want to take your phone out of your pocket. So
Was it Bluetooth LE connection?
yeah, it is. It's they're saying it might be a combination of Bluetooth LE and Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi
Because
direct.
that's actually how continuity works with the phones and the iPads and the Macs. It's some combination of Bluetooth LE and Wi-Fi to make that all work. So
Is that not iBeam or whatever they call that?
no, it's not. No, it's gonna work through Bluetooth LE and Wi-Fi. Continuity between the phones and the Macs and stuff. That's how that works. It's a combination of the two. So and that's probably how this is gonna work too. It's gonna be some combination. Because you know you have to have an iPhone to actually use the watch to a point. I mean, I think you can use basic functions without an iPhone, but you're going to need an iPhone to do the heavy lifting with it. So I think actually the watch is going to run through extensions is probably what's going to end up being. You know, you'll have your apps actually installed on your iPhone, and through extensions they'll work on the iWatch or
All right,
Apple
so
Watch.
starting at 349, what do you think it tops out at?
$2,000,
Stop.
probably at least. Did you see the gold watch, bro? Yeah, $2,000, I bet. For the, I think you'll have a lot of different price points there. 349 to start.
What do you
You
get,
know,
like Velcro with that watch? Like,
yeah, I don't think you
I
get.
mean,
I
what do you
think
get for 349? Wait, is that real 349 or carrier 349? Like, is it like
no, but here's a good question: is that with a strap for 349 or not with
no,
a strap
no
for
way,
349?
no way. There's no way you get a wristband for 350. No,
That's what I'm
wristband's another
saying.
$50 at least.
So,
The
so
Velcro
are
one's
we
fifty
talking at
dollars.
350 is just for the guts, and then
Correct.
there's some really nice straps though. I mean, they really did a good job on the straps. So how much is the strap? I bet you if you wanted to walk out of there with the top of the line best Apple Watch you could buy, you could spend over $2,000.
Yeah, I think
I
it tops
bet you.
out at 1,000.
Nah, it's too low. Do you see those gold watches, man? Come on, these are watch people.
Yeah,
They're
but
gonna have a model just for watch people. That's gonna be
yeah,
even
but if
by
I have a
Apple terms.
Movado, I'm not going to trade in my Movado for this thing.
No, well, you may occasionally. You may want to wear your Apple Watch sometimes and your Movado sometimes, and you're gonna want a nice Apple Watch. You don't want to go from a Movado to some piece of crap. So I wouldn't be. I mean, and let's not forget here, by the way, we're talking about Apple. Yeah, I mean, I defend them a lot with pricing structure, but let's not forget who we're talking about here. So, 349 is the start. I think you could easily part with $2,000 over an iWatch
I think
when
if
it's all
you,
said and
I think there's like zero return on investment for $2,000 for this thing.
done. Depends. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I'm sure the bands will exist from generation to generation. I'm sure. I mean, obviously the guts won't, but I don't know. Again, there's so much we don't know about it. I mean, we just got a little look, and they played with it a little bit on stage, and
What do you think about that dial, that little dial thing or whatever they're calling that?
I
The
think it looks. I think they wanted to solve a problem. Um, and I hope that's the way to do it. you know, because trying to navigate a touch screen on a watch isn't all that fun. So I think they came up with that dial, and they're going to try to solve it that way. And I'm going to trust them until I try it. How's that?
Um, what about those of us who wear our watches on our right hand,
They said it's fully flippable.
reversible?
Yeah, reversible, fully reversible. Good for lefties.
I mean, I'm a righty, but I wear watches. Actually, I don't wear watches at all, but if I do, I wear it on my right wrist.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, somebody they addressed that. They said it's fully compatible with putting it on the other wrist. I think your digital crown will be on the other side, but or
right.
upside down or whatever. But you know,
All right,
people that are lefties are used to that.
and then lastly, in the Apple world, what else for the rest of the year?
Yeah, well, you still have one more event to go. We're definitely going to get new iPads of some kind, probably an iPad Air 2. If I had to guess, I'd say it's Touch ID. Maybe that's it. Probably the A8 processor, but I don't think they're going to reinvent the wheel on the iPads this year. iPad Pro, probably not till next year. Um, I'm not sure how I feel about that. You might get a 12-inch Retina MacBook Air, but that might also be next year. I think what you could see this year that could surprise people, if Apple wants to make a splash, you might see that Retina iMac this year, which a lot of people are waiting for. Um,
Really, Retina iMac?
yeah, well, because here's the thing: you got the Mac Pro now, which needs a 4K display, right? So they got to come up with a 4K display. They're selling everybody else's. So traditionally, how Apple works is before you get the standalone cinema display, you get the screen tech is in an iMac first. So with Dell just hitting the market, last week with that 5120 by 2880 screen, which is exactly double current iMac resolution. I mean, there you go. So yeah, I think you may see a Retina iMac. I think it's possible. For the first time in a while, I think that's actually possible. Which there's a lot of people waiting for that because there's a lot of people with Mac Pros that want an Apple Cinema display that's worthy of their computer. So it's coming. Whether it's this year or next year, it's coming. If I had to guess, I would say this year you're getting the new iPad. You're going to get one of either the Retina iMac or the Retina MacBook Air. Pick one. Not a whole lot in the way of spec upgrades to everything else. So I think that's probably going to be about it. And then Tim Cook said today that Apple's working on products that aren't even rumored. So whatever the hell that means.
It means nothing. Every CEO in the world is supposed to say that. It's how you keep your
Yeah.
stock price up. What are you buying between now and April Fool's Day? What are you buying?
See, now on April Fool's Day, I am going to buy one of the iPhone 6s, the 4.7, most likely, unless that 5.5 is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in the world.
That resolution is beautiful from what I hear. Well,
Well,
hey, you know what?
we'll see.
Review embargoes come off tomorrow morning, so we should see tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get a pretty good look at it. So, so probably the 4.7. Computer-wise, I think I'm good. iPad-wise, I'm definitely good.
Yeah, I
um,
am not. Carry on.
if there's a new Apple TV, I'd probably be interested in that. Um, between now and April Fool's Day, that's probably about it. I don't. I'm not. iWatch might be out by then, but I can't see myself waiting in line for it. So, new Apple TV, maybe. New phone, probably. And that's about it.
Yeah,
Unless,
not probably. I have to get a new phone. My contract's been up since February, so I need a new phone.
yeah.
And Surface 3 probably, unless the 4's out. Now that it's 10 inches and better, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was going to ask you if you like that. That looks like a
Yeah, I
pretty
love it.
interesting take on it.
Actually, somebody in the press box had one of those the other day, Saturday,
Oh, yeah?
and yeah, and he loves it. And I play with it for 15 or 20 minutes, and I'll probably buy one. So that, and then phone, computer, that's it. Maybe if Google comes out
Oh,
with another Nexus 10, maybe, but
I forgot.
that's about it.
Xbox One, too. I owe the family an Xbox One. So,
Speaking of Xbox One, that takes us
yeah.
into the other half of our conversation here.
Which is going to have to
Microsoft
be
bought.
the last 5%. We'll pick it up next week. But
Yeah,
um,
Microsoft bought the people who make Minecraft today, and Dan and I are on very opposite sides of the wall here about how this is going to work. Go
well,
ahead,
hold
Dan.
on. I don't know if how I can't think you can say how it's going to. I have no idea how it's going to work. All the point I'm trying to make, you're of the opinion that the whole Minecraft world is just going to continue on, happy-go-lucky on all these different platforms. Everybody's
Right.
kumbaya, going to be kumbayaing down the street. Microsoft, the great savior. Okay, maybe, could be. But that would the point I was trying to make was it'll be the first time it's ever happened to with a developer that Microsoft has owned. Bungie had to leave, had to give up Halo forever just to go make something different.
Right. And my whole okay, so here's the thing. My thing is, right, because absolutely nobody has any idea what exactly we're talking about because neither one of us explained it here. So my
Right.
contention is that new Microsoft, right, and I define new Microsoft as anything after 2012, and now especially under a new CEO, is when
Mm-hmm.
they buy the company, they keep all the people, or as many of the people that want to stay, and let
Mm-hmm.
the people continue doing whatever they normally do, right? And in this case, I think Minecraft continues to make console versions that are not exclusive to just Xbox One and not exclusive to the Windows platform, right? So they continue to make them for Xbox and PlayStation and I don't know Nintendo, or is Nintendo still around? I don't know.
There's no Minecraft on Nintendo, so
Okay,
that's okay. But
okay. But
I
my point is here is that even though the dude is leaving Notch or whatever his name is,
right.
I don't think that affects anything. I think Microsoft, like I explained to Dan, I think Microsoft bought Minecraft to get in with the
Sure.
younger people who play Minecraft so that they will start to develop things for Xbox One and then after that, right, because now we're going to development all across the way for Windows and for Windows Phone,
Mm-hmm.
lowercase p, and for WinRT, which is the Windows Store applications. That's what I
But
think. I think they
here's
let
the
them do
thing.
whatever they do, and then now they have a whole bunch of developers that they never would have got because nobody likes Microsoft.
And all I'm saying to him is it'd be the first time. That's it. Be the first time. It would be the first time that's ever happened in the Microsoft gaming community. It may turn out exactly like you say. Microsoft might be the big heroes of Minecraft. Minecraft 2 might be the greatest game ever made, available on PS4 day and date with the Xbox One. That could all happen.
Well, I don't
I'm
think
just
it's day. I
saying.
don't. First of all, I don't think it happens day and date because I mean, very rarely do you get games on all platforms day and date. I mean, that never happens.
I'm just saying it'd be the first time. That's
No,
it. Just be
but
the
I'm
first
saying
time.
if what I'm saying is if the expectation is for Minecraft 2 to be available on all platforms day and date, it's not going to happen because it doesn't happen with any other game anyway. So I'm saying
Right.
let's not use that as the barometer of if this is going to work or not. That's all I'm saying for that specific example that you just gave. That's all
Okay.
I'm saying.
Fair
Right?
enough.
Because we know everybody gets exclusive for 30 or 45 days. You know what I mean? So if it's exclusive to Xbox for 45 days, well, yeah, of course, right? But you're going to get it for PlayStation 6 or whatever it is now. So,
Right.
I mean, it's going to happen, but I don't think that they're just going to say, well, sorry, folks, you're not going to get Minecraft 2 on PlayStation 2. Like, that's throwing $2 billion out the window for Microsoft. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, they got 60 to play with, but who wants to throw away $2 billion?
I'm not going to argue with it. You may be right. I'm just saying, be the first time. So show me new Microsoft. I want to see it. All right, I'm starting to get beta glitching errors, so we gotta wrap this up. I'm
Okay.
on beta OS and I'm starting to see it.
Um, we're going to try and come back next week. My turn. We're probably going to do, we're actually going to do securing your digital life in light of the alleged, I will say, iCloud failures of security and
That's a good
um,
topic.
backing backing up your photos, how you can back up your photos to a place where you know where they're at and that only you have access to. I have some
Hmm.
ideas there for you, and they do not include the words Facebook, Google Plus, or SkyDrive or OneDrive or whatever it's called today.
Okay.
Um, so I think that'll kind of take a while for us, and then I'm gonna assign Dan an app to look at. Actually, Dan's gonna go out and find an app of his own to look at, and I will review an app next week, and we'll kind of go from there. So, does that sound good, Dan?
Sounds good, man. I can't wait.
Okay. So, and then by this time next week, we should have iOS for a few days in our hands, and we'll give a very quick overview of that, and whatever else happens between now and then. So, Dan, tell everybody where they can find you at.
On Twitter at CommonManDZ. And pretty much that's it right now. So, I'm not doing a whole lot of anything else. I do occasionally pop up at More Than a Fan Cleveland, more than a fan Cleveland.com, but mostly on Twitter at CommonManDZ.
That's actually mtafcleveland.com,
Oh, sorry.
or
MC.
mtafcle.com.
I get confused because there's two different URLs, and it's cleveland.morethanafan.net or mtafcleveland.com, right?
Yeah,
Right.
just say mtfcleveland.com. Yeah, and I'm the I don't really know what my title is anymore, but I run College Football Roundtable at cfbroundtable.com, and then podcasting at More Than a Fan, so that's mtaf.tv. Personal webpage is damianbowman.com, which is under a redesign, so don't expect anything exciting when you go there, except for my head under a water fountain. And on Twitter, it's at Damian Bowman. Don't forget you can find this and all of our other podcasts at Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, BlackBerry World, Zune Marketplace, and of course our simple RSS feeds. Go to mtftv.com or mtaf.tv/shows, and we will see you next week.